The reason we're talking about Russia-Ukraine is because it's the single biggest, greatest, largest military action that's taken place in Europe since World War II. Joy Reid made this statement on her show that the only reason people care so much about Ukraine is because something racism.
As the world watches the devastation unfold in Ukraine, nearly 4,000 miles away, another crisis is deepening that we don't hear much about in the U.S., and that is the war in Yemen. The coverage of Ukraine has revealed a pretty radical disparity in how human Ukrainians look and feel to Western media compared to their browner and blacker counterparts, with some reporters using very telling comparisons in their analyses of the war.
That means accurate.
This isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
Civilized. Okay, let's face it. The world is paying attention because this is happening in Europe. If this was happening anywhere else, would we see the same outpouring of support and compassion? Well, we don't need to ask ourselves if the international response would be the same if Russia unleashed their horror on a country that wasn't white and largely Christian.
Okay, a couple of things there. Compassion, do you mean like accepting record numbers of refugees who went on to commit mass rapings across Europe? No, we've paid attention to this for a very long time. It's just hard to pay attention when, of course, the wars over there never stop. There's never been peace in that region of the world. Also, it's inconsequential to the rest of the world as a general rule. What do I mean by that? In case you think that's derogatory. I mean they don't matter as much. Not their lives. I mean their global impact. Now, this is not something unique to Joy Reid, so expect to see this playbook just like yesterday when we basically fact-checked, like an oracle, Biden in real time. Yeah. We fact-checked him before he said what he said. Trevor Noah said this about Ukraine earlier this week.
Here's the thing, people. Here's the thing. Beyond the racism, right? Like, let's forget the racism. Oh, how I wish we could forget about the racism.
Shut up.
You do realize that until very recently, fighting crazy wars was Europe's thing. That was Europe's entire thing.
It wasn't the Ottoman
That's all of European history. They even had something called the 100 Years' War. You understand how long that is? That's like a decade.
Wrong.
There's one person.
They got a Nobel Prize because they stopped fighting. Imagine that. Now people are going to be like, oh, to see this in Europe, to see this. Like, I'll tell you now, I don't know about you, but I was shocked to see how many reporters around the world, by the way, seem to think that it's more of a tragedy when white people have to flee their countries. Because I guess what? The darkies were built for it?
Nope. Okay, couple things.
Wow.
First off, I guess there's peace in Africa? You can't find a battle in Africa. You can't find a war going on. Nary a fight to be found in Africa. It's a white people thing. Second, let me be really clear to Joy Reid and Trevor Noah. And you can comment below if you know what I'm about to say. I think it could be said pretty quickly in a short summary. No, the reason we're talking about Russia-Ukraine is because it's the single biggest, greatest, largest military action that's taken place in Europe since World War II.
You get it?
Contrast to the Middle East, people are at war all the time.
Yeah.
It's people whose old shit looks just like their new shit fighting other people whose old shit looks just like their new shit.
Well, and that reporter's point was, look, this isn't a war-torn area. This isn't somebody who's been fighting wars off and on forever with Iraq and Iran. And in Yemen, you have to understand that's mostly a civil war that's being supported by two other countries. It's not like Saudi Arabia invaded Yemen or Iran invaded Yemen. Right. They basically are just supporting different sides of the conflict in Yemen.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. It's still horrible. Nobody is saying that that's fine.
Right.
What we're saying is Russia is trying to come in and take over another country and take from them everything that they have.
Yeah.
These other conflicts.
Because that country's, I don't know, right there?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not because they're white. And some of these guys are using...
Could be because it's one of our greatest adversaries really in modern history for the United States of America, and the greatest or largest, I don't want to say greatest, I want to be careful, the largest scale military action that has taken place from one country in Europe against another since World War II, just so happens to have been committed by someone who we've had to keep our eye on for a while.
Exactly. And what is the dominoes after this is what a lot of people are worried about too. It's like, okay, what's next? If he takes Ukraine, is he going to go and do some other stuff against a NATO country? And now we have to get involved. What happens if let's say Iran just attacks Yemen and takes it over? Geopolitically, what happens?
You're overthinking.
Nothing. I hate
we've
it.
I
we've
think
already
it
refuted
really
what
just
they
comes
say.
down to they are advocates for black on black crime, and I don't care for it.
Yeah, no, I know.
They are racist.
They're just handing out handguns.
It's literally two of the dumbest statements I've ever heard. And the white guy who's there was like, I don't know how I can say this. It's fairly European. It's like, what does it matter? It's people running from their homes so they don't die.
Yeah.
And you have a problem that they're white? I'm sorry.
Right. No, he was trying. Yeah, he's just trying to say like Yemen is relatively more civil, like maybe European. Now, if you follow that up and go, okay, what does he mean by that? Does that mean that he's by the way, how is it racist for him to say that when he's comparing it to other Middle Eastern countries? He's comparing it to what he means is, plumbing. So
Yeah, just small things.
small things.
Yeah, but good for her for being a complete piece of shit.
Yeah,
Sorry,
she's losing
pardon
her
me.
show still,
I just
right?
don't
So there's a silver
understand
lining.
why anybody would sit there and say that this is about racism.
Yeah.
No.
It makes no sense. It's become the argument. It's the only argument they have, and it's so boring at this point.
And the only people who could, I guess, be perceived as not racist would have to be people like me and people in this room who don't think we should be engaged in this war between Russia and Ukraine at all. So, I mean, we're not even saying that we should go and save white people. In other words, you're the only people at MSNBC, the Democrats and the Republicans, the John Boltons of the world, right? The establishment rhinos and the establishment Democrats. Those are the racists. Is it done now? Are we a Nazi here?
yeah,
We're not supporting white people.
I don't think we should send our, every kind of soldier that we have, black, white, Mexican, whatever it might be, over and fight. I don't think we should send anybody from America. Is that okay?
Well, I don't know. I think that's racist.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.